Uh, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another live stream video from the D&A Football people. So, as I saw by the title, we're going to share a bit of interview with the Jamaican assistant coach, and also we're going to touch on Leon Bailey history and crisis of injury problem right now. Plus, Romano Burrall has been flying in your people. So we're going to look at those Jamaican reggae boys and also other Jamaican reggae boys in and around the place who has been performing to their best right now. So do hit the like button and subscribe, people. We're going to share this interview of the assistant coach of Jamaica. I got this video from this YouTuber named Left Field. He looked like he now started a channel, and I saw that he did the interview and he did some follow-up video. So you can go and check him out at this moment. So I will use his audio from this one and let you know what the coach really is definitely saying. He touched a bit about Jamaican coaching plus his applied trade right around Netherlands and all Norway and all over. So I will play the interview and let you hear what he had to say, people. Yeah, so you could go and check out the website because he have some tactical attacking thing that he bring, and also some things. So go and follow the channel of it named Left Field. He now started the YouTube channel. So hear what the coach had to say, the assistant head coach of Jamaica, people.
Good to be here. So, Ian, you've been to many different clubs in different roles as head coach, as assistant coach, but I want to take you right back to the very beginning where it started at Leeds University. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So that kind of journey started when I was around 20, 21. I was up at university, initially studying and as a player in the university side. Combined with that, I did some work with the football in the community program at Leeds United, which was like a good intro into like just basic coaching really with kids. And then after I graduated, I took the job as the head performance coach at the University of Leeds, where I stayed for about 7 years. So it's a great place for me to cut my teeth coaching. And like many young coaches, you have to take a lot of different jobs just to kind of make your income up so that you can get by.
What did the schedule look like for you?
Yeah, it's tricky with university football because obviously the students come back around September.
So yeah, people, he started out with his start from the college football. Well, approximately he didn't need a lot of badges or all these things. What we use as a stepping stone in the managerial place, but that is where he started from. He was supposed to be licensed or something like that. Let me continue play it, people. I really want to chat too much still enough. So yeah, we must see it.
And then they get quite decent holidays if you're a student. So you get a long time at Christmas, long time at Easter, and then a long summer. So the season's fairly short. You normally train 2 nights a week, play British university games on a Wednesday, and then you'd have some like regional games on a Saturday. But obviously the better players are often playing semi-pro on a Saturday, so you probably lose them for that. But you might get around 20 games a season, I think, with the university lads, and plenty of time on the grass.
Okay, so it's a great place to go and learn. Did it require you to have any UEFA badges at the time to get that job? Or would you able to get that job and then start the badges process?
Yeah, I'd say like university football, it's not like the EPPP it's not so stringent with what you actually have to have paperwork-wise. So I started UEFA B when I was about 22, 23. So it was perfect really for me to have access to university football, like decent level of players, 11 versus 11, good facilities. So everything that you need for the B licence really you could work with in that environment.
So from Leeds University, you took an unusual step to then be assistant coach in Norway with Sarpsborg. Talk us through that. How does someone go from Leeds University to Norway?
Yeah, so the last year or two that I was at the university, I was introduced to Brian Dean. Brian Dean, obviously former player in the Premier League, and he retired a few years before and was looking to get into coaching. and he was doing his badges, and he needed somewhere where he could access like players and gain some experience and cut his teeth on the grass. We had 2 really good years actually. We won the British Universities title that year, and I think Brian just enjoyed the process of being around it. So he then moved into management and was presented as manager of Sarpsborg, which was a small club but newly promoted for the first time to the top league in Norway. And he just said, look, I'd like you to come and work on the grass. He'd obviously seen me work. So for me, I was 29, and the opportunity to move into like full-time senior professional football in a decent league was like a great step for me. So yeah, I went out there and then assisted him, and we stayed at the club for 2 years.
It's amazing because I hear so many.
So that was his second task, people, where he took up assistant coach for Salzburg. And he moved on because we're watching his transfer market thing here. So, and he been a lot of assistant coach around and managers for some other small clubs as well. So, listen to what you have to say again.
Coaches and players actually speaking about it's more often who you know, not what you know. And in this case, that has proven. But what I want to highlight is the fact that you took 7 years out of your time at Leeds University and in academy football at Leeds alongside it in order to get the opportunity. Once you were there, how was the experience? You know, as an assistant coach, what was your role?
For me, it was so important that Brian had seen the level that I could work at, and that he respected that. And so that all came from the years before, like you say, of preparing myself for that. And I think if you do the right things over and over and over, eventually you're going to meet some people that can help you open the right doors, because it is about people opening the doors. And for me, I'd been coaching for 7 or 8 years, and Brian had only been coaching really for a couple of years. So actually my experience on the grass was deeper than his, although he had a much better understanding of what professional footballers go through, like emotional things and feeling and things like that, because he'd been a top pro for 20 years. Transferring that to the grass was where he now had to like work at, whereas he knew that I could deliver a lot of the things that he wanted. So when I went there, my primary work was to plan, design and implement all of the training process, and Brian obviously wanted to oversee that, so he had his ideas on how we should play. And then it was up for me to transfer that to the players via coaching. So it was great for me because Brian essentially would take the heat from being the manager, and I got to do all of the good bits, which was like be on the grass. I could make mistakes on the grass. It was a perfect scenario for me as a young coach to be able to go in, really be given a lot of responsibility for how the team plays and tactically how we set up, but not get blamed for it ultimately. So it was quite a good situation for me.
Yeah, I can relate it.
So yes, people at the party, he talking about being an assistant coach under one of his friend and not getting a lot of blame of when they lost and stuff like that, when he got the job to do and things not went the right way as how they're supposed to, you know. But just to show you, he coming from a far away to where he's at right now, you know. So it's a good look for the youngster, about 42, yeah.
I'm in a very similar role here in Iceland, and I often mention that I've been given the freedom to make mistakes, and that's part of the good side of being an assistant. And I do at one point have ambition to be a head coach, and that's my next question for you. It was in Norway where you then took your first role as head coach with Viking. How was that? How did it compare to being an assistant? And now, as you're the one now in the firing line.
One thing I'd say is I think it's really difficult to go from assistant to manager in the same club. Like that's quite a challenge because your relationship with the players changes a lot. Even though again in Viking I was given like massive responsibility on the grass. So from a training perspective, not a lot changed. But I took the club when it was in a really difficult spot. They were transfer embargoed and they were short on money. I was 33. That's one of the biggest clubs in Norway, and I was given that job. And probably, if they were at their peak of powers with all the money that they'd had before me was Roy Hodgson. And with all respect to myself, I don't think at my level of experience I'd have got that job unless the club was in a bit of crisis. like I wasn't going to get a favourable situation. I was going to get a really demanding situation. So whilst it was tough, I learned an unbelievable amount about how to manage a football club. When you were in it, it felt unbelievably hard. But when I came out of it, I was kind of grateful for the learning that I got from it, because I think I was able to, in some situations when I moved into other jobs and there was crisis, like I was better equipped to deal with it.
From Norway,
All right. So you moving on from club to club. So in this part, we have mentioned Vikings as an assistant manager, and he moved up the ranks to be from an assistant manager to a manager, official manager for Vikings, where that club is in Norway, people, as you mentioned, and that was from the assistant from the 23rd of 11th 2016 to 2017. He was being an assistant to a manager of Vikings, people. So he kind of move up the ranks a bit in and there, so he's going to talk about his next move where he make at this moment, people.
were let go by Viking, is that correct?
Yeah, 3 years I was there, and then
fired.
at the end of my third year, I left. Yeah.
So how is the ending process? So what could you talk us through what that looked like? So
Yeah.
go on.
Well, it's normally a late night phone call to come into the club, and then like it's one of them. I don't know if you've seen those movies where the guy from the mafia gets called and he's got to go in and he knows he's getting killed. It's one of them. Like you get a phone call and I'm like, turned to my wife and I was like, I think I know what this is. But it was hard because like the first time it happens, like it does hurt you. I was sore, and they had told me that they knew that we were going to suffer that season. We were embargoed. We had no money. We sold the best players. It was about economic survival rather than the team surviving in the division. And they promised that they would stand by me, because they knew it was difficult. But then at the end of that season, it looked like they were going to be able to sell the stadium. They were going to get a lot of money coming back in. And obviously they felt like, okay, now we can change things up. It was a bit of a bitter pill. And I learned a little bit about what people tell you on the way in might not be what they're saying when you're going out. I went in and they just said, look, it's results and results are not strong enough. And you also have to accept that because that is where you live and die on your results. So, but yeah, the first time you get let go it's a tough one. And you have to do a lot of self-reflection after that. Definitely. For me, it was like, it wasn't only leaving a football club. I left the country then because I was saying, well, what's here for the wife and kids now? Well, we're going to have to move back to England then because I can't sit in Norway with no job. So now it's back to England. So it wasn't only that after 3 years of really having somewhere as your home, it's now you've got, you're leaving the club, you're leaving the country. So it's quite a big shift, really.
Did you get a chance to say goodbye to the players? How is it? Did you have to pack your office up that day? What does that look like? What does that next 24 hours look like?
Yeah, it's tough. Like the night.
So yes, people, he talking about his story moving him from the assistant coach to manager at Vikings at Norway, where he got sacked. I believe he got sacked because he talking about movie, and when you get a call, you know that it's surely dead as an assassin. So he talk about that. He felt bad. He shares a little bit of emotion speech there, and where he have to go, and he and his family was in Norway. He had to leave and go back to England because he was without a job and it made no sense for him to sit down in Norway and definitely try to get a job. So they moved back to England. I think that was in 2020 as a matter of fact. And I think he have some good run. He have at Vikings, he have 30 games. He played there, so So that is like a whole season, So let me finish up and then we move on to the Jamaican part where you talk about.
Just pack up and you don't say goodbye. You don't really get to say goodbye. Like when we recently, when we left Wolves, it is literally you're in one day, you get a phone call and that's it. Pack your stuff up, you don't see anybody. You know, those players that you work tirelessly with every single day in your own little bubble, and you're 100 mile an hour every day, and then you get a call and one day you just drop to zero, and that's it. You know, you don't. Obviously, players reach out, and you do connect with a few. And like, I went and met a few players for a coffee, and I met some of the staff, but there's no big goodbyes. It's like you're out the door, and they'll move on quick. So it's a tough business from that perspective. If you're going to have success, you have to build strong emotional connections with the players that you're working with. But they can get cut in a moment.
This is a harsh reality of football, and it happens to coaches every day. We see it happening in the Premier League. We see it happening in Norway. I see it happening here in Iceland, where coaches are cut within a 24-hour period, and they're having to move home and move their family and all their belongings alongside it. So I appreciate you sharing that insight. You then went on to go and work with Ostersons, where you were a big success. And my question around that is, you know, for British coaches, do you recommend going abroad? Because that was your path. I mean, you were 2 clubs in Norway, and then you've gone on to Sweden.
Yeah, I would. Of course, it's helped me enormously. You know, 5 years in Norway, and then 2.5 years in the top league in Sweden. Like, for me as a coach, developed me like an unbelievable amount, and I felt like I had got to a point where I felt like a lot of doors were closed in England, that it was difficult to progress. And it was also, I think it can be difficult. Like, my own feeling was, having not played at the top level, I never found gaining credibility with players any issue, because as soon as you get on the training pitch, their players want to know how you can help them. But gaining credibility at board level, getting time, getting credibility with supporters when no one's ever heard of you before. I found in England the challenge. I went to Scandinavia, and English football's quite revered. So automatically I felt like, okay, I've got a little bit of buy-in here externally. In England, it feels like if you haven't hit the ground running after 3 or 4 games, then you're already fighting against the tide a little bit. If I compare, say, the top league in Norway and Sweden to League One, for example, where I've also worked, like, it's more tactical. It's definitely more technical. It's nowhere near as physical and as fast. But it challenged a different side of my coaching. You only have 30 games a season, which means you get loads of time on the grass with the players to develop things. Whereas you go to League One, you can get up to 60 games a season. So you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. So it's a different type of coaching. But yeah, I couldn't recommend it more for British coaches to challenge themselves culturally and football-wise. It's top.
Moving on from us.
So yes, people, this is where you move on to Swedish second-tier league, where he's been a manager, and also it just never worked out for him for him at that moment. I think he struggled there as well. You realize that he giving the story about his trade that he applied in coaching, that he done a lot of movements and gained a lot of experience. So I am not really saying that he's not a good coach, but he's still young. He have a lot more to learn, where we could say that, yeah, he go all over in Europe and do the thing, but going back to England was thing there. Yeah, man.
Where the fans even threw you a party, a leaving party, because they were so impressed with the work that you did there. You came back to England. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, it was a strange period. We'd had some... my wife was ready to come back from the north of Sweden, I think. So we kind of made a decision as a family to come back and get the kids in school and set up a camp back in England. So we came back, but COVID was on, so it was really difficult to get out and meet any clubs or meet any personnel. So it was actually a tricky 7 months. I'd had a couple of online interviews, and I actually spoke to the national team of Iceland. I was down to the last 2 for that job. For the Icelandic national team, which was a really interesting process. But Notts County called me and asked me if I'd go in, and I was super impressed with the owners and the football club and how they wanted to do things. So they gave me an opportunity to manage the football club. They were in the National League at the time and looking to build something. I spent a best part of 18 months at Notts County. I had 2 playoff campaigns there with them. It was maybe the right moment personally just to take a step up a couple of leagues. And yeah, then took on the Forest Green role. Forest Green was a tricky one.
Yeah, people. So as he speak, he go on from club to club, from year to year, where he went to Notts County. He spent, as he said, he spent 7 months there, and then back in 2023, the first, he moved on to Forest Green, where you're going to share all of that story. And I think this was one of his biggest achievements as a coach, to be around one of the biggest team in Netherlands, Anderlecht. So he's going to talk about that too, and touch also on the Jamaican. So just stick around, people, and listen what you have to say about the Jamaica national team, recruitments, and things. So yeah, let's continue. Hit the like button, people. Subscribe.
As a head coach, because a month after the sporting director sold me a vision, he left to go to Portsmouth, and I understood it because it's football and it was a great opportunity for him. But he left me then doing a lot of things around the club, and there were so many things that weren't at League One level at that point. It felt like I was doing everything other than the stuff that I love, which was being on the grass. So I kind of stepped back and said, like, that was a really challenging experience in League One, and maybe I just need to go back to the bit that I love, which is being on the grass. And I also felt like I needed that exposure at being at the club at the top level, because I'd worked in top league in Norway, in Sweden, and then lower league in England, and I felt like maybe working with top international players was the next step for me. But I knew I wasn't going to get that as a manager, so assistant was a smart place to go. So Anderlecht had actually called me
As an assistant,
to see what my situation was whilst I was at Forest Green. But I wanted to try to make it work at Forest Green, so I had said no to them. Brian Reamer had gone in as manager, who was assistant to Thomas Frank, and I knew the sporting director well from Scandinavia, and they'd rang me because they really wanted an assistant who could deliver on the grass. So, you know, I was in Forest Green. I said no to them, but then Forest Green sacked me, and they picked the phone back up and said, just out of interest, would this now be interesting for you? So I was like, look, what an opportunity. My first games were playing in Europe against Villarreal, home and away, and we won and went through to the last 16 in Europe. So to the quarterfinals, in Europe. So to get sacked from Forest Green and a few weeks later beat Villarreal away was quite surreal, really. Yeah, so that was great. And Anderlecht's an amazing football club, and it is such a powerhouse in Belgian football. You know, it's so historic. So you almost felt like you were part of something really, really big. So like, I found it easy to go back because I just had a tough 8-9 months as a manager, and I was like, need a break from being a manager. I'll let someone else. I'll just help someone else. But I also felt like I'd be a better assistant having had that experience, because I know how lonely it can be, and I know how tough it can be. So, like, to be able to empathise with that as an assistant and then try to support. But then Gary went into Wolves, and I got a phone call just asking if I'd be interested in coming back to England and Wolves. It was a difficult one because I was so enjoying Anderlecht. But I talked to the manager and I talked to the sporting director, and they said, Ian, you have to go. If it's the Premier League, it's an amazing opportunity, and we just support you 100%. So Anderlecht were class, and so yeah, then I went across and got the opportunity to work with Gaz and work in the Premier League, and like, again, just from a coaching perspective, a massive like learning experience.
How challenging was the Premier League?
All right, then I'll move on there. Just yet, people. So as he speak about RSC Anderlecht, that in the Belgium league, top club in Belgium too as well, you know. And he said it was a great achievement to even go at the knockout stage, beating Villarreal and also. So it's a good achievement for the coach, because he's moving up from ranks to ranks, from manager to assistant manager, and also plus he got a one and few fire on the way, you know. But it's all in the game as a coach and as a manager. That is all in the game, because not everything going to work your way. So I think in my eyes still, he, he didn't do bad, but he have a lot more to learn as a manager because most of his manager he got really sucked from them, you know, and things. So as I said, the biggest achievement for him was in Anderlecht, and he's even said that to as well, you know. So let me continue play it, people. You're going to hear what he said about Jamaica because they asked him the question about Jamaica and being the assistant coach, and he talk about players and thing and getting involved, the players on the grass and all them things. So listen, people.
Yeah, it's different because it's such a huge operation. Like compared to lower down, the volume of people that are involved, the amount of staff, the amount of detail you can go into is phenomenal. And of course, the level of the players is so high. But you still get a lot of the same problems that you'll get in other clubs. You'll get players that are sometimes late, sometimes struggling for motivation. I think in the Premier League, the level of coaching is so high. If you get it wrong, you really get exposed.
Mm-hmm.
If you make a wrong call with a team, it can, it gets highlighted straight away. There's no room for error. The quality of players that you play against are so high, and things happen on the pitch so fast that it's like everything on fast forward.
Now that brings us to where you're at today. You're working as assistant coach.
So yes, now so the next movements we're going to move. We're going to talk about Jamaica now, people. You know, so hit the like button, people. Subscribe if you're new. So definitely, he moved up the ranks, went back to England where he was the assistant coach for Wolves at this. I think last year that was 2024. You know, and Wolves never really make it. They never really have a good season last year. I think there was a bit above relegation battle, you know, and I think they sacked the coach that time, and he goes to as well, you know. So he was without a job during that time until when he mentioned about Steve McLean. So I never really talk and say what I must say. So this is what must say, people.
Coach for the Jamaican national team with Steve McLaren. How is that? How different is working in international football to your everyday football in the Premier League?
Yeah, it's definitely different, and it's something obviously I've never experienced international football. So Steve called me maybe about 6 weeks ago and just said, "Look, if you're not back in, I really need somebody to come and work with me on the grass. They've got World Cup qualifiers in September, October, November, and it would be great to have you as part of the team and come and help us out in Jamaica." So, it's quite an attractive proposition, really. The Caribbean for a couple of weeks and get to coach. But the level of players is really good. A lot of championships and Premier League players playing in MLS. It was a chance for me to get back on the grass, which is the first time since Wolves. And it is different because you're getting a group of players that are actually different levels, because some are playing in the Jamaican League, some are playing in the Premier League. You've got to piece them together. You've got to tactically prepare them with only 3 or 4 days. Some are playing, some have been sat on the bench. They're all
right, people. He said some very important things right here now, people. So I would pull it up about 10 to 20 seconds and replay it back again. Because he said some very important things, and I think a lot of things could be flying over our head, people. So let me pull it up.
to get back on the grass, which is the first time since Wolves.
So we'll start off by saying getting back on the grass. Because remember, he got fired from the Wolves assistant coach. I think that was last year, 2024, 23-24 season. Wolves didn't make it out that much. So, as I said, they was in a relegation battle to really stay up. And they make it out, But it was time for that coaching staff and management have to really move on and for different coach to come in. And so do I think they got sacked in that year. So he talked about he was home and Steve McLean called on him and tell him to come and help him. So definitely Steve McLean didn't have no coaching staff to help him. Just to show you, he was crying out for help. And we could move back in a couple months ago where we have Steve McLean was in a state of shock when the Unity Cup and all over when time he was playing, and he really looked devastated, people. So he talk about he call him in the September window and so forth, and they come, and the guy come and help him out. So let me play it back again, people. I talk about the players them from Championship, MLS, USL, and the JPL as well. So for him, he was trying to mixture, try to get the differentiate of players and try to mix it and try to get it on a level. But I did think that I don't agree with that part.
And it is different because you're getting a group of players that are actually different levels, because some are playing the Jamaican League, some are playing the Premier League. You've got to piece them together. You've got to tactically prepare them with only 3 or 4 days. Some are playing, some have been sat on the bench. They're all at slightly different levels. They're all being told different things at clubs. Some are being told to play more direct, some are building up from the back. So you've kind of got to find something that works for everybody with that group of players. And you've got 3 days on the grass to get it right before you...
And you see what I said, people? I know this could have fly over a lot of you guys, because he mentioned about the timing of getting the pieces together, because he talk about players who playing at the high level, players are playing at the USL, players are playing at the JPL, and also he don't have enough time to really get the pieces together, because a lot of players go to different clubs and they learn a lot of different things. So if he did have the time, I believe it could have worked. But the timing for synchronizing the lower level, the mid level, and the professional level, it's not working. And they was trying to find a way to really join up it together in just a short space of time, where I think that wouldn't have worked in a short space of time, but it would have worked in just maybe if they get enough time to get it done. And I'm not downplaying that it wouldn't work, but I'm just saying for the short space of time, you don't need to do all of that. That is just like a short term thing, and it never work. It just never work with Jamaica at all, people. So that is why you have the team all over the place, ups and down with the professional players and with the local players. Players are playing at mid tier and all these things. So it's just all over the place. But maybe this is what Ian Steve McLean come together to try to do and feel it would have been worked. But I don't think it worked. No time at all, people. Me I tell you the truth. Me not believe it work.
Game. So I do sessions every single day in club football. Now I have like 3 weeks to prepare 3 sessions, and you've got to make sure all 3 sessions are absolutely perfect, because if you don't get them right, there's not much room for error. For me to go and work with Steve with his level of experience, he's been a top manager.
I mean, I'll pull it up back about 20 to 30 seconds again, people. You hear what the man said. I'm not going to talk. I make you listen to everything. Because in my opinion, I don't believe it for the short term. For such a short term, where you have to try to mix some levels of player with some other technical player, I don't think it's good to do that.
They're all being told different things at clubs. Some are being told you're getting a group of players that are actually different levels, because some are playing the Jamaican League, some are playing the Premier League. You've got to piece them together. You've got to tactically prepare them with only 3 or 4 days. Some are playing, some have been sat on the bench. They're all at slightly different levels. They're all being told different things at clubs. Some are being told to play more direct, some are building up from the back. So you've kind of got to find something that works for everybody with that group of players. And you've got 3 days on the grass to get it right before your game. So I do sessions every single day in club football. Now I have like 3 weeks to prepare 3 sessions, and you've got to make sure all 3 3 sessions are absolutely perfect, because if you don't get them right, there's not much room for error. For me to go and work with Steve with his level of experience, he's been a top manager, top international manager, assistant to Sir Alex Ferguson. So to just draw down on some of his experience as well has been brilliant.
So yes, people, you hear what a man say? I don't agree with that last part that he mentioned about try to get the players them, try to use them and try to get them on a level where it could work with the lower level and the mid-tier and the higher level players. I don't think it would have worked for a short space of time, because the international break is just in between, just few days you have to play a game. And that is why it called for players who are playing at the highest level, who are technical enough, could either come in and either get the job done because they are playing at the high level. And most of these players who are at the high level have a little bit of similarity of the coach teaching them. So when you're trying to mix these players plus the high level players, you're going to get a little bit of differentiate in the performances wise. So maybe this is why you see Jamaica is performing right now. People, let me know if I'm thinking out too much, or made up on the right level, or whatever the case, because this is you see Jamaica really performing right now, because the coach, and don't get me wrong, people, it could have been work if they have a long, lengthy time. But for a short space of time right now, where we have international break chip team like every 3 months and so forth, where you have less amount of time to deal with certain players who not really on the level, and players who really up there who will take a minimal time to really get the understanding where you're going or what you want them to do. That is all you will get it from those type of player. But when you are teaching it to a player who don't have the experience, who never play at the highest level, it will take a time for them to really learn. And on the international scene, I don't think coach really have that set of time. But our coach have the time to do it, which him not have it. So that is why he really find himself in a certain position where the team not really clicking, it not really having a chemistry, no really cohesiveness, nothing at all. You know? People who don't get me wrong, me not beat the coach, me not beat the assistant coach, but me just give my take on what I gathered from his last take, what he said about the Jamaican national team. I don't see it will work in a short process of 2-3 days using these type of players that he have at his disposal. And that is just my take. And I don't think it would have worked on that short term. For a long term, I believe it could have worked. But for a short term, no, I disagree totally with that. You're not going to get the performances what you are looking for from the team. So that is where I will rest my case on that. So anybody, let me know if you agree or disagree with me in the comment section, and we can move on to the Leon Bailey and the Burrall plus other reggae boys who have been performing and other players who have been injured. We could move on to the next part, people, and talk about these other players. But definitely, he's a good coach. I realize that he have a very good determination. He tried to gain a lot more experience in the managerial path, and he has been doing a whole heap of movements in the Norway plus Scandinavian, which is the Swedish and all these places. So he go all over go play in Europe, and definitely he gained a lot of experience coming back to England and things. So definitely he gained experience. So I wish him all the best in his coaching thing moving forward. People, but what your take of what you listen in the interview that he did, the voice note that I play, people, because this was from a channel, Left Field. It's a new YouTuber because he have about a minimum of 88 subscribers or something like that. He got the interview from the for the for the Jamaica national assistant coach, where he did the interview. And I run up on it and I said, let me come and share with you guys because he must say something about the Jamaican job that he got the other day. Because he now coming into the national team, people. So let me hear what him said. So that is why I bring it to you guys and let you know what really happening. But definitely I just disagree with that part, people. You see me? But people, do it the like button, subscribe if you're new. So we're going to move on to Leon Bailey now, people. Definitely. Leon Bailey right now. I don't know what going on with Leon Bailey still now, people. Leon Bailey, I don't know if I saw this or what, but it just no look good. Where Leon Bailey was out injured for a couple of weeks, then coming back and then get couple 2 games in Roma off the bench, and then man injure again. So me no know what is the problem going on with Leon Bailey at this moment. What really taking place with him? A lot of speculation people have about his performances wise, about his health issue, about his nutrient, and all these other things. There's a lot of speculation has been taking place with Leon Bailey. But I tell you the truth, people, it don't look good. And Leon Bailey still, because a lot of some people would have said, I bet I hang out the boots and now, and just forget about football. And others would say, maybe he need to change his diet, or he need to do some important things that the body required when you are a professional athlete. He need to do that as well, because I think we had this conversation for a while now back on my last channel about Leon Bailey and his performances wise and injury, where he definitely got injured very often when he was at Villa. And we have been mentioned about his health wise is, oh, if he party a lot, he drink a lot, and all them thing. So all them thing kind of lead it up to the performances and the injury, because if if you're not playing football, if you're not eating properly, you're going to feel it on the pitch. And it's like your bone them not really going to work. Your muscles is not there. And that is what I think really happened with Leon Bailey. Or I think that he's changing his diet to try to deal with it on a level where his body could adapt to this kind of diet, where you have to eat some of the rest of things or something of the sort. I don't know, but we just could speculate and think, and we know that when a player got injury, like very often enough, we know that is what you intake, your diet, your health, your sleep issue is a major factor for that and things. So it's just not really looking good for Leon Bailey, and I definitely think that for this season, Leon Bailey will struggle. And to see how he is performing right now and to go back to Villa, I don't think he's going to stand a chance to get really a pick in the team, because they loan him out to see what maybe the difference is with him and a different club, to see what will happen. And it's like the same issue has been taking place with him, because he's at Villa, he got about 2-3 game run, or maybe 4-5, whatever the case, and he got injured, he out, either the hamstring or something, and then he spent out about 2, 3, 2 2 months, and he come back, try to find form. He haven't kicking on, But I think that this is why Aston Villa loan him out, people. And this is just my personal observation of what I maybe think that what has been taking place with Leon Bailey and moving to Roma on a 1 year loan deal. I think that they loan him out to a team that not well a league not really high intensity, because where you have um Rome Italian league is that quick and fast like the Premier League. So maybe they say, all right, if we give him a loan and the league are that much slower than the Premier League, maybe he wouldn't have a lot of injury, or maybe the injury wouldn't occur more often, And it looked like it playing out the same way, based on what I gather, people. I'm just gathering that from my observation of what I saw with Leon Bailey. Because Leon Bailey is a player I follow right through. I follow him right through. So I will, what I observe with him and everything, I think that is what the team do. That is Aston Villa, because when a team loan you out, it's not because if there's a lot of things to it, There's definitely a lot of things to it when a team loan you out and give you it's either they loan you if you get game time, fitness level, match fitness, and your technical ability, and maybe getting the game time, and you go there, get the game time, you come back into the team, you start to perform, and they realize, yeah, it's a game time you need, so maybe you could be more in the team more often than regularly. But so there's a lot of things we could gather about loan players, and right now it's not looking good for Leon Bailey at this moment. Is it easiness where he loan last summer, I believe, and it don't look good. No, last summer, this summer, sorry, this summer, it just not look good. It don't look good for Bailey right now, people. So I tell her, Bailey, my advice to you, bro, take it easy. I know you feel it still, because you come out running and try to do something in Rome, in the Italian league, and it just never did a work out. So I don't know what really go on. Let's see somebody a text my message. So it's just that I hope that Leon Bailey bounce back and try to change up your diet, man. Change up certain things, your lifestyle of you deal with certain things. It's just not looking good, bro. It just not look good. You see me? Just not look good. So I'm saying that Leon Bailey, try to do the right thing. Try get some sleep, rest your body more often, and even when you get vacation, try stay away from the hard liquor and them all of them things, because them shit they kind of take a toll on you. Whereas if you're a professional player playing at the highest level, it will take a toll on you. Understand me, people? So just why? I know me just have to flicking chat. Some more people in the chat, man. Hey, the live stream, I don't know how wicked say no. Tricky the fudge. Check it gone again. So, when I see nobody chatting, I don't know. YouTube did so. Although, a lot of time, man, them chat, John no star. Because the people in that building, I just, I never seen the chat people, me I tell you the truth, because of the YouTube live stream I use. And me not see it pop up at all. So big up the man them, Chorus, Son, Mr. Blake, Jaja. I miss out on a lot, man. And me there play, me I say, oh, me not get no chat. Oh, no chat now come in. Okay, only TNT and J out of the big tree in the Caribbean, not doing nothing outside Kamakov. Barely need to manage his off season and his habit. Better included his rest and diet. Definitely, that is so true. That is what he had to do. When in dep on him break, no go on a party. Stay yard, training, and try to deal with your health and your fitness part. So that is what I think he should do. Than to be running up and down and party because hey, I have one life to live, so we have to do it. No, bro. You don't need to do that. There's a time and place for everything. So I think that you should understand, say, here we go on. Cut off this, we're not gonna do too much of this. If we are gonna do it, we just make a one thing and just move on. But when Leon Bale left on vacation, he line me right through. In party right through, and we could see that too as well. And I think that is one of the things that really messing up Leon Bailey right now. So he's definitely struggling. He's definitely struggling at this moment, people. I hope he recover. Hope he definitely recovers. I don't know all this now. Sure, they have been chatting now. Yeah, people. So I tell you, Leon Bailey right now going through some very, very rough period. Going through some very rough period. I hope him overcome it still. I hope he overcome it. I don't know. I can't believe say all these time me have on the live and I not see no chatting. I don't understand. This YouTube thing, to the truth. Something just thing. So yeah, man, and Leon Bailey, that no star. I feel it for him still now because I think that he has something to offer with this national team moving forward, which a lot of people won't agree because a lot of people don't really rate him that much. But you don't know them believe him fans them out they will really look for him, and things. So I definitely think that he's going through some rough patch right now, and I hope that he find his footing and try to get the thing going. So I wish him all the best, people, and thing. So yes, people, we're going on to Romano Burrall, people. Definitely, I think that He's one of our most outstanding centre forward right now as we speak. I think Romano Burrall deserves to get a nod in the starting 11 because of his performances wise and his goal and contribution for QPR coming in from the last few games that he played. So I definitely believe that he deserves a chance to get even on that because we don't have an informed centre forward right now as we speak, and definitely he is one of them players. We have Jamal Lowe, who definitely putting in some good work for Sheffield Wednesday, but yet still he find it very much difficult to get a chance in the national team. And definitely I just think that Romano Boyd is deserve to get a call up for the national team. Is there people? So I'm looking forward for him to even get in the starting 11 coming coming in the coming days of this international break, and I think he deserves to get his chance. But it just not look good. Just not look good because we have the players them, but we're just not using them. You know, we just believe in a certain other players who believe could could get the job done. You know, so let us see what will happen in the coming days when they drop the squad release. You know, see what will take place. Basically, what he is saying, some players are coming from the close playing from the back or direct. So, different type of players. Well, yeah. Yes, that's definitely true, of course. So, this is where we cannot get the balance. So definitely true. But people, how do this YouTube thing. No, give me whatever. But what are your take on Romano Boyle people? What are your take? What you feel? What do you think he should get started in the starting because he would have been in my lineup as in the starting 11 people. He would have been in my lineup people. You see me? So I think that he deserved to get a call up for the national team. You see me? But I don't know how we go on it. If he will get a call, if we will look on other players who not really performing and thing. Um, and I think the injury too, Bell injury, Greg Lee could replace Bell as well in that left back. Plus we need another one to show to really get in the second spot. If thing the injury, if Greg Lee injury, we could drop in these players. So Cameron Archer, I don't know if he available, if he will get picked for the team. So definitely don't know people. But two game that leave people very much sticky. I think that it's going to be very, very tough for Jamaica in these two games coming up against Trinidad and also Curacao at 8th position. In the second position, people. So definitely looking forward to the game. So what will happen? What will take place? You see me, people? But I'm going to leave it here, so people. So because I never see more sound of comment. I never really a comment yes or no. but it just not really showing enough. That's it. But people, pick up on yourself, Thanks for joining the live stream. And hope you all have a good day. Right? Definitely. It's live stream. I know how many now. No,